Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NASholes, the podcast where two assholes who like to think they know a thing or two about NASCAR talk about NASCAR. I'm Benny B, joined alongside my very good friend Drew the Man Scar Van. You guys can follow us on X at NASholesPod. We are on TikTok now at NASholes.podcast. Make sure you give us a subscribe on that YouTube channel and follow the Spotify. Give us the 5-star review. Drew, Kansas, we had a race in which, let's just say, NASholes has a new logo. We got a new week, but Kansas had a not-so-new winner in Kyle Larson, who led 221 freaking laps. Just total domination.
I think he also exceeded 10,000 total laps led in his career this weekend as well.
Dude, it's just, you see him on the track, and it's just, no one was catching him, dude. And, I got into something on X, on the NASholes page, and with some guy, and, it was a Blaney fan. And I was like, I'm a Blaney fan too. I like Blaney. And he's tried to say 3 or 4 more laps, he would have had him. And I said, no, I don't think so.
Actually, he might have.
3 or 4,
Blaney,
I don't know, but like 6 or 10 maybe.
Yeah,
but anyways, he was
Blaney,
like, dude, he's like rage bait. And I was like, dude, I'm not even rage baiting. Like, I'm literally like just being real with you. Like,
yeah.
I like Blaney. He was running down. He was closing the gap. But I just think Larson was just too good.
Well, his back right tire, I think it was giving him a lot of trouble. So that's kind of what made Blaney, because like Blaney didn't have the tire wear, and he was like chewing away at the time difference.
Yeah.
But it was just 2 laps too late, and all Larson had to do was not blow that back tire, and he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, but really it was, you had Larson. So let's go over this here. So we had Larson in first, Bell in second, who honestly was up front all day. Really, he led 3 laps, but yeah. Blaney in third, Briscoe in fourth, Bowman in fifth, Josh Berry in sixth, Ryan Preece in seventh, Chris Buescher in eighth, Joey Logano in ninth, and a shocking. Honestly, this guy has been kind of underrated this year. Is John Hunter Nemechek in 10th. He's had, I don't even know how many top 10 finishes now, but it's kind of unbelievable.
Oh, you mean Nemechek?
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
Yeah. Somehow he survived some more races than this time last year.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's. I gotta give him. I gotta credit where it's due. He's impressing me with how many top 10s he's had.
I'm just impressed with the amount he's not crashing, especially in the Legacy Motor Club car.
It's different guys now.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe he figured out how to keep her, in line.
Yeah.
Or whatever, I guess.
Yeah, but we had, unfortunate, Drew. We've been trying to get this hoist sponsorship. If y'all been following us on X, we've been trying to get this hoist sponsorship, trying to get free hoist. And we made a deal with hoist that if a RFK driver won the race because, hoist sponsors RFK, that we would get free hoist. And Keselowski was up there. He was chewing away at Larson. He was seriously getting there. And then he blew a right rear and totaled the car.
Yeah, when the deal was made, I didn't have my hopes up. So I was like, the odds are against us. And I was like, maybe Buescher. But, like in the first part of the race, he was kind of just starting to lag backwards. Preece and Keselowski were able to go from like 30th and 36th all the way up to the front. But then like when Keselowski was like there catching Larson, like closing the gap, I was like, oh my God, we might actually fucking get free hoist. And then right after I said that, like a lap later, I just see that car just up and into the wall. And I was like, no, there goes the free.
Well, and I thought the whole thing for me was I thought Buescher would get it for real because I thought he would get his revenge from last year from being so close from winning. And he did qualify. I think he qualified 7th or so. Yeah.
No, he qualified 2nd.
Did he?
Yeah.
No, he finished 8th.
Yeah, I was say,
That's
he
what
started
I'm
he started on the front row, but then he just kind of like, got swallowed.
Drew, countless of times Buescher kept getting up there, but his restarts were not good. He would just drop back a couple spots, and he was kind of toying around at, the 11 or 10 to 13 range. And so, but Keselowski was impressing me, man, because he didn't qualify very good, I don't think.
He qualified the worst out of all the RFK cars.
Yeah.
Which is also kind of why I was a little bit shocked, too, that it was him. Because, if it would have been Buescher, I would have been like, oh, yeah, no, this kind of makes sense.
Yeah, but I think Preece continues to carry RFK right now.
Yeah. Preece has been pretty impressive the last few weeks now. What is it? This is his 3rd or 4th top 10 now?
I'd have to look, but I mean that sounds about right.
Yeah. I don't know for certain. Have to maybe look into the stats before.
Yeah, probably should.
Fuck that.
To hell with that.
This is a low effort podcast, people. Come on.
Matter of fact, he actually is up 2 spots from where he's at, and if the playoffs started today, he would be in. Let me check here, Drew. He has 4 top 10s and 1 top 5. So
4 top 10s, 1 top 5. Oh shit, that's better than I thought. Nice. Go Prees.
Yeah, average finish of 19. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess if you look into the other guys, like let's see where Buscher's at. Okay, Buscher's a little bit better. I mean, he has 6. I mean, I guess maybe he's a little more under the radar for RFK. Maybe I just am not paying attention. But he's an average finish of 15. But then you look at Keselowski, which he's probably way down here, man.
Yeah, he has
he's
not
in
had a good
33rd.
year. Yeah, he's not had a good year so far.
Dude, he doesn't have a singular top 10, man. I mean, and his average finish is like 27th.
Yeah,
pitiful.
And Sunday was looking to be a great Sunday for him.
I was hoping for it,
until that Goodyear radial was like, fuck you, and fuck your hopes. Into the wall with you.
Yeah, I don't know, dude. But, the race was interesting, and, a lot of people are going to complain about it because of Larson, dominating. And, honestly, I didn't like it either. I don't like when a guy leads that much. But at the end of the day, dude, like, they pretty much have, other than, having different manufacturers, they all have the same stuff. So it's like, you either figure it out or you don't. So,
well, really, I mean, all this one person would have to do is just get out into the clean air, and then you'll just take off. Then after that, the race is for everyone else is just second, unless something happens to the leader.
And that's not just Kansas either. Like that's been a lot of tracks this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's gonna be the All-Star race this year. I mean, that's how it's been the last 2 years. I mean, whoever gets the pole stays in the lead the entire race. I mean, we might have a different leader during like pit stops and all that.
Right, but then they would just end up coming right back up to the front.
I was more disappointed that we didn't really have a whole lot of battles for the lead. I mean, like I said, the race for everyone besides Kyle Larson was for second, just because Larson was able to get out in that clean air in front of everyone else. I don't know. I mean, you're not always gonna have a perfect race too. I mean, I still think Kansas can put on a good show. I also think too, time of day, can affect the wear and tear on cars as well. On the tires, like last year, with the closest finish in NASCAR history, it was like nighttime.
Yeah.
Like cooler track, so the cars were, I don't know. Maybe
it don't eat up as it's not as slick.
Yeah, and it's like maybe it was just a perfect storm last year. But yeah, I mean, this past Sunday was mostly just whoever can get out in front, you'll stay there pretty much. And it also doesn't help that Kyle Larson's the best driver in the field.
Well, absolutely, man. And
so
that's the thing about it. People want to complain, but like, well, your driver is just not as good. Like, I'm sorry. Like in my eyes, dude, like Larson, like if you take away, if we're not talking about championships, right? Like, because I know a lot of people want to say that like championships determine your success, which I would agree that that's pretty true. But let's just take that away for once. I mean, like Larson is pretty much the GOAT of the sport right now, or he has been
of this generation.
The last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think he'll be, literally of all time. Like, but
well, I mean, he's only like 30 something, so like.
Well, that's the thing. He can drive for another like 10 more years, probably.
Oh, easily like 15. I mean, you can shit. I mean, for all we know, he might be like Mark Martin, and like continue winning into his early 50s, which is insane to think about. Because like usually, like late 40s is kind of when drivers stop winning, or that's the pattern at least. It's kind of it's like a Cars 3 scenario where all the new guys kind of the quicker, better, faster, stronger.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's a whole lot of left in Kyle Larson, so he might become the greatest of all time for all I know. I mean, shit, I wouldn't be surprised if he had like a 10+ win season every year for like 5 years straight.
Well, he's already at what, 4 or 3?
This is his third.
Yeah.
Yeah, so him and Bell have tied for most wins this season. So
I mean, I'll be honest, dude. I think like just the way I see it right now, if he keeps racing the way he does, I think he's gonna get to like 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah, no, I could definitely see it. Well, and I mean too, like, he's had a dominating season before. I mean, his first season with Hendrick back in 21 was probably the best season of his career. I mean, he got 10 wins, 11 if you include the All-Star win,
Mm-hmm.
and also the championship. He won, he won like 3 or 4 of the last 5 or so races in the playoffs. I mean, the guy was unstoppable. And by the way, that's him coming off a season where he got let go from Chip Ganassi Racing because he said that really cool word, on iRacing, and everybody on the political left lost their goddamn minds over it. Arguably, he's probably the only man I've ever seen get canceled and only get better off of being canceled. He's kind of like the Shane Gillis of NASCAR, if you think about it. Like he had the golden ticket, and then he said something he probably shouldn't have on the internet, and now he's a a god among men.
Yeah.
I think if there's any moral to take from those two stories, racism gets you far, kids. Say all the slurs. Don't actually. No kids are watching this.
NASholes does not support racism unless
Unless
it's in
it's,
a joking matter.
I mean, we're all racist here, but we're like race enthusiasts.
Right. Get it right.
Yeah, we're racist. We love racing.
Drew Allmendinger, man. That just the in-car camera him.
Yeah.
Seven laps in, Drew, and his engine blows up, man.
It was like 7 laps in.
It was 7 laps in,
I
man.
thought it was like mid-race just happened.
I had to go back and watch the highlights because I'm like, I know they're gonna show that, and I looked, I'm like, holy crap, 7? I'm like, wow. And then you hear him on the freaking comm. He's like, ECR, you guys fucking suck. And they actually on the broadcast were about to play it, but they cut it as soon as he's like, ECR, you guys, and then like they cut it, but. Dude, then he just completely crashes out. Like you just hear him. Like they get back to the garage. He goes, "Fuck." I was laughing. I mean, it's not funny because look, this is his life. Like he's trying to, be good and make money and all that sort of stuff. But like, it was just kind of funny. It was a total crash out.
It brought me back to 2013 when Kurt Busch drove for Phoenix Racing, driving that 51 car, and they just gave him a steaming pile of shit every weekend. I mean, if you go back and listen to those radioactive videos from that era, and then you listen to what Allmendinger was doing this last weekend, they were on par with each other for like unhinged. This shit sucks. I hate my life. Levels of anger in NASCAR.
Yeah. Then you had Kyle Busch too. He's like, this car sucks. Thanks, NASCAR.
I mean,
and that was just hilarious.
I mean, Kyle Busch was a lot more dominant in the old, the Gen 6 car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you blame him? No. But.
With this car too, a whole lot of shit's different. Gen 6, you only had 4 gears. This one's got 5. The other one that sticks out too is just like shape. A lot of the teams get the same part. Manufacturer differences will come into play a little bit. Style of tire. Everything with this car was brand new to all the drivers. So a lot of them, who'd been in the sport for long periods of time, struggled with it, minus Denny Hamlin, who, seemed to have the best transition out of all the older drivers in 23.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of Denny Hamlin, man, he had some mishaps, man, on pit road.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I believe. Hold on a second. Let me look at this again.
Well, no, did his engine blow out a second time this weekend?
Yeah. Oh crap! I gotta get back the results. Sorry. Yeah. No. So he basically the clutch broke on his car.
That's what it was.
And
that's what it was.
He was coming off of pit road and he tried to go like, and you just heard it like it wasn't going anywhere. Like he couldn't get into gear.
Damn, Joe Gibbs, you're taking your best driver and giving him steaming piles of shit every weekend. I think if this happens for a third week in a row, he's going to turn into Allmendinger this weekend and just fuck.
Yeah. I don't know, dude.
Progressive's going to love that.
But dude, you saw like I don't know if you saw when they were changing his tire, the dang the lug nut, like the ring for the thing, like just went.
Yeah, the thing that fastens it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, the fastener or whatever. And it was just like, oh man, like Hamlin is just like, and like I've been watching Full Speed on Netflix, and it's just like you just feel totally bad for the guy. Like to be honest with you, like I actually feel.
I mean, if you hate the guy, you're loving this. But if you're a Denny Hamlin fan, the one or two of you out there, like the diehard Hamlin fans,
Look, I'll be honest. When I
hello.
first got into it, I think I kind of wanted to hate him just because Denny Hater Dave. Shout out
A
Dave.
lot of people think he's a douchebag. I guess objectively he can be, but I respect him because he's also just himself. Like Bush stopped being the bad guy in NASCAR and it switched over to Denny Hamlin. He just embraced it wholeheartedly, and as much as I wanted to hate him, his I don't give a fuck attitude won me over tenfold.
Yeah.
He solidified it with "I just beat your favorite driver," and then hearing Bristol erupt in booze.
Yeah.
I'm surprised no one was hucking beer cans at him at that point, But
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I kind of wanted to hate him, but like you watch Full Speed and it's just like you get a whole different perspective on him. Like the guy just wants, dude, he's like an ultimate competitor, man. Like he just wants it so bad, and like I found it funny that he calls himself the Black Cat of Death. Like he is just so unlucky, you know.
You know,
Like no matter what, he can try his hardest, have like a great car, and it's just never good enough.
well, I mean, he's got high expectations, and he drives for one of the best teams in the sport.
And he owns a good team too.
Good for the most part, yeah. I mean, the 45's really been the only consistent car, but the 23's been, on the uptick the last couple seasons. That 35's got a long way to go, but I still think there's plenty of potential there with Riley Herbst.
Yeah.
It's his rookie season in Cup.
And then
I usually
Heim now, right?
well, he just did I don't know if it was a one-off. I mean, Heim's still full-time down in trucks, but the
But
the
he was
fact he's still
impressive, Drew. He was impressive this Sunday, man.
well, so the problem with Corey Heim isn't actually Corey Heim. It's the fact he drives for Toyota, and really the only brand that you can move up through the ranks with after trucks is Joe Gibbs. But he's got some bad blood with Ty Gibbs, so and there's not really any competitive Toyotas in Xfinity outside of Joe Gibbs Racing. And for Cup for the last few years, it was that until 2311 came around, and now Legacy Motor Club. And I mean, with what he did this past weekend, I mean, Joe Gibbs. I mean, if they're smart, they'll fucking move him up to Xfinity next year before another manufacturer steps in and takes them away from Toyota Gazoo.
Yeah, I think that's
Which
what it is.
should still be called TRD, because that's fucking makes more sense to me. Yeah.
I wonder. I just think about this, man. We've talked about this before, but you think about with Suarez, like this 1-year deal that he has for this year or whatever. Yeah, it kind of makes me think. I wonder if Heim could kind of slip in there to Trackhouse.
Whoa.
But I don't think they would.
Well,
I personally have just kind of gave up on that whole thing, and I think the Trackhouse is just going to stick with Suarez. I mean,
Trackhouse has done a lot of surprising things in its history. I mean, the
right?
biggest one that stands out is them buying out Chip Ganassi Racing in 2021, and then for the 22 season, going to a two-car team. But I mean, like Chip Ganassi Racing was in the sport for a little over 20 years at that point, and they
Well,
went in. I mean, it's never been disclosed the number, but it was a very generous offer according to Chip Ganassi, and he figured, well, I got 20 good years out of this sport. He got a couple. Well, no, I think he had at least 2 crown jewel race wins with Jimmy McMurray. So it was he checked out, and Trackhouse expanded its team. So a Corey Heim move to Trackhouse, it would be
probably
surprising.
unlikely.
I wouldn't be terribly shocked if it was like a thing though, because like I said, I mean that kid can drive. I mean you see what he does in trucks. Imagine
Yeah.
what he does in a Cup car.
Right. Good enough equipment in the Cup. I mean,
Yeah,
that's all it takes, man. Sometimes.
and the Toyota better do something with him quick before he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because if he's able to be on 2311, man.
Hang on, I gotta go discipline my cat. Keep talking.
Okay. Well,
Get out of there, cat.
I think I saw something that Bubba Wallace said. He said, the resources aren't fully there, like to field the fourth, NASCAR, Cup car, which is probably true.
Well, the thing too is, I mean, teams are allowed only a max of 3 cars now, with Hendrick and Joe Gibbs getting the pass because they run a 4-car team. But I don't know how long that grandfather clause sticks around. because at some point, I mean, you'd think they'll have to size down to 3 drivers for both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I kind of just think too, field a little bit bigger.
You think so?
Like, yeah. I mean, we used to run
Well,
40
yeah, I guess
cars.
because then that kind of
Yeah.
makes more sense to be able to have
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this whole charter situation right now is
But
a
how big would it have
fucking
to be,
shit
Drew? Like,
show.
how big would the field have to be, do you think, for them to allow it?
I
And
mean,
even then, they might not want to.
well, the thing is too, like we don't have to field. Right. So my God,
It's usually
during
38,
the
36.
yeah, roughly. Well, they usually allow a max of 40, but back in the day, they used to allow 43. But we don't need to run 43 cars every race, too. So, like, why
Well,
not make the
that's
field a
also
little
true.
bit
You don't
bigger?
have to. No.
Yeah, I mean, just make the field a little bit bigger. I'm sure that's gonna probably make some difficulties like pit stall selections and all that because now you got to add like 3 more pit stalls in and where you put that and maybe hauler locations as well. But I mean, I think those are all problems that they can easily like handle.
I
But
didn't even think
I don't
about all
know.
that. That actually does make it sound more hard to do.
Well, I mean, I don't think it'd be I don't think it would be like a devastating change to the sport by any means. But
No.
I don't know. I also really don't know how the whole charter system works. I
Yeah, I'll
mean,
be
end of
honest,
the
either do
day,
I.
end of the day, I just want to fucking watch good racing,
All right, that's all we're
and I
asking
kind
for,
of
man. I don't care how they do it,
yeah
as long as it's good.
yeah. I mean, as long as the teams can stay afloat with whatever, I'm content.
But Drew, did you? I mean, honestly, like, did you think Kansas was a good race? I mean,
Yeah, yeah, I think it was.
I don't
And
think it
I'm
was
not just saying that as
bad.
Kyle Larson fan, but I just think Kyle Larson just performed best out of everybody, and he was able to get the
Well, I thought the rest of the
air.
field, watching the rest of the field, because like Larson gets ahead, they're obviously going to show, like if he's far enough ahead, they're going to show other stuff. And I thought the battles that we had going on were very interesting. I mean, I thought it was very
Yeah,
fun to watch.
I mean, yeah, as nice as those battles are, it's not as entertaining as watching them battle for the lead, though.
No, I understand.
Because
I
like,
agree.
I mean, don't get me wrong, dude. If there's like a solid race for like 8th place between 2 drivers, it's fun. But wouldn't you rather, that be the case for like first and second where they're duking it out? Like a lot like last year where both cars are super close. You know, like I don't know. It was a good race. Like it was. It was a good race. I'll probably catch flack from all 3 of our viewers for that. But yeah, like I
Yeah, no, dude. I mean, like, obviously, you always want more lead changes and whatnot, but like you can't always control that or like guarantee that. Larson just happened to have an amazing car. I mean, I don't really know what other way to
well,
put it.
and like I said earlier too, it doesn't help that he's the best driver in the field. You know, I
Right.
mean, that guy could probably win a NASCAR race with a Model T somehow. Okay, maybe not that. Mostly because Chevy would shoot him for driving a Ford. The fucking jalopy
Damn,
just
if
fucking
they tried to
passes for the
actually do
lead.
that, they'd probably blow a clutch so easily. Like if they tuned one up.
I don't think the car would make it one lap. I think it would fucking crumble.
Well, you
Even
know
like if it
what?
was
You'd
built
probably,
brand new.
dude. I think just any sort of embankment, like in going that fast, like would just the axles would or something would just go wrong with like the tie rod or something.
Well, shit, those wheels used to be made out of wood. So like that's. I mean, like I think like the rim itself was metal, but the spokes in it were made of wood, I believe.
Yeah.
So like, dude, those spokes fucking break on the embankment, dude. That car's just it's done. It's done, son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, here we go. All right, Drew. Time for a great segment that I like. And it doesn't happen a lot. We haven't had it a lot this year. It's time for good grass or ass grass.
Damn it, Ben.
Okay, Drew. Listen,
I
I'm going to
wasn't
say something
expecting
that
that
you may or
part.
may not be surprised by.
All right, period.
It was good grass. It was good God Almighty grass. And you know what? I'm gonna say this. This is the part that's gonna surprise you. I think this is the best grass we've seen so far.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
kind of does shock me.
and that's only because I know it's actually real grass. Like the other ones that it's like so unclear if it's real or not. I don't know. They were saying Texas wasn't real, but I don't know about that. Couldn't have been not real. I mean, it just looked like shit.
Mm.
I did some more research this time, so I actually know what's going on. And based on my research, which may or may not be wrong, okay, so don't like hurt me. So
You're wrong about fragile of your house.
in Kansas, they use Bermuda grass, which is a warm season grass, but they overseed it with Kentucky bluegrass. Hence why they're able to get all the stripes like they are. But like, Bermuda is very good for like wear and tear. It can just handle a lot of compaction and all of
Wait,
that.
the stripes is two different sets of grass?
No. What I'm saying is, like, when you use Kentucky bluegrass, which is a cool season grass, it stripes up more easily because it like
Gotcha.
just the way the strand of grass.
Because I was gonna say, like, if they have like one stripe, grass option A, and then another one grass option B, that's got to be a pain in the ass.
Well, because okay, Bermuda kind of grows like sideways, like basically like it's a creeping grass, so like it grows like kind of like that. Now it does grow like up, like tall, but like not like Kentucky, like literally straight up. So that's how you get the stripes, because when they mow it, it like rolls over it and like lays it one way, and so that's how you get the stripes. So essentially,
It's really interesting,
from
actually.
my research, apparently that's because it gets pretty hot in Kansas. It does, and so like you got the Bermuda grass that can handle like heat and drought and stuff like that. Then like also like they get pretty cold too, so like they have like a little mix there. But so that's what I found out in my research. I could be totally wrong about all this, but from my research, that seems to be what it is, and I think this so far this is the greatest grass we've seen out of all the
Nice,
tracks. So
nice. Well,
yeah,
let's wait
that's.
for Indy though, man. Remember last year how nice that grass was?
Oh.
Oh yeah.
Drew, anything else from Kansas? I was gonna go over these.
Well, before we move past Kansas, I guess we need to talk about the Truck Series finish.
Oh yes,
Carson Hocevar fucking just being a legend. Yeah, dude. Him and so okay. So for you viewers that didn't see it, which I doubt, because if you're listening to this, you probably know what we're talking about. But last lap of the truck race in Kansas, Hocevar was driving the 7 truck for Spire, and you had Lane Rins in the 34 or 30. Yeah, 34. Yeah, he was in 34,
mm-hmm.
and yeah, they were going down the backstretch and they ended up sliding into the wall, and Hocevar was able to hold on to the lead during it, so that when they're coming down the front stretch, he was flipping him off as he passed the finish line. A lot of people were divided on that. A lot of people thought it was a very disrespectful gesture. I mean, those people are also over the age of 55 and they're near death, so who cares what they think? But then our generation, the ones with level heads, thought it was really funny. Then there's some industry people that didn't care for it, other ones did. I mean, end of the day, Hocevar said it wasn't like an aggressive thing, and Lane Riggs thought it was funny.
He didn't
He
get
didn't
pissed
take it.
about it.
No,
He
it's not
basically
like
said, "I do that too. I would do that too if somebody like tried to like
something along them lines.
do that
Yeah,
to me and I still won."
yeah,
And Hocevar said they hugged it out and like they laughed about it. Like it wasn't what everybody thought it was. And like how can you blame him, dude? Riggs literally like pushed him up the track
yeah,
into the wall.
yeah.
So
The fact that he held
like,
on to
and then
that
he
lead's
won.
impressive.
So like
Yeah,
that's basically like fuck you, like you tried to win and you didn't from
yeah.
hitting me.
Like you know what? I would probably do that if I was in a Hocevar situation. I would have happily done that. And like I forget who said this, but it was on one of the podcasts I listened to for NASCAR, and totally don't rip opinions from. Sometimes my opinions line up with them like a scary amount, and I fear that
You're
I'm
like,
just
whoa, you're
passing
saying
someone
what I'm
else's opinion.
thinking.
No, it's more like I'll listen to the podcast and be like, yeah, that's a good point, and then I'll do this, and I'll pretty much say the same point, and then afterwards I'll be like, do I actually think that, or am I just fucking saying that to say it?
I
Anyways,
try not
ADHD
to listen
tangent.
to. But anyways,
Like, guys, somebody said though, it was like, yeah, you had this nice photo of you getting the checkered flag at Kansas, and now it's tarnished with that middle finger. And I was like, dude, if anything, it's better.
it's
I mean,
absolutely
like,
better.
the middle finger the last 2 seasons have brought great moments to the sport. Now, I know what you're thinking. What are you talking about? May I remind you, last season when SVG won at, I think it was Portland, or it's either Portland or Sonoma, one of the two, and
It was a road course.
he was battling Austin Hill for the win, and SVG was doing his SVG burnout lap. And when he went to do it, like when he went to go past Hill, Hill was kind of miffed about everything, so he flipped him off. So then he just followed Hill for the rest of the cooldown lap doing a burnout. And I mean, everybody loved it in that sport. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he'll give him the finger. It produced a great moment. But those same people are also saying like, well, this was just in bad taste. Yeah, and it's like, no, it's a fucking hilarious moment. Chill
Dude,
out.
I
Go
think
to
the
bed,
middle
boomers.
finger is so misconstrued nowadays for what it probably used to be for these
Well,
boomers.
it's a generational difference. I mean, like our parents and maybe
Like
our
that literally
grandparents
meant
both.
disrespect.
Yeah, like this was like fuck you and the horse you rode in on, you know. But now, you know, shit. But when I'm dicking around with my friends or whatever, we shoot the finger at each other.
Dude,
I
I'll be
mean,
honest, Drew. I couldn't tell you the last time that I legitimately like flipped somebody off and actually meant it as like a fuck you. Like I I've only ever flip off like my friends like fuck you, like you're a dickhead.
yeah,
You know, something like that. But I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I was like legitimately pissed off and flipped somebody off.
yeah. God, I don't think I've ever been legit pissed at anybody and gave them the finger. I mean, usually I just scream at them. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
I would go past hand gestures and go straight into verbal assault. You know. But yeah, no, Hocevar doing that though. I mean, he's still becoming one of my favorite humans. He's having a phenomenal season in Cup. I mean, he's got some solid finishes under his belt, like 2 top 5s already, I think. And this is only his second season for a team as well that really hasn't been the most competitive for the most
Yeah.
part. Though I will say, after they kicked that Corey LaJoke to the side,
Le
you know,
joke.
well, it didn't help too that Hocevar filled in for LaJoy when LaJoy was driving the 9 car for Elliott when he was, I think, suspended.
Huh?
Or it was either he was suspended for dumping Hamlin or he was still out on injury. So LaJoy went to the 9 car, finished piss poorly, and Hocevar went into the 7 and finished way better than LaJoy did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I mean, and then LaJoy being outperformed by Hocevar last season as well, to the point where they legit got rid of him with 10 races. Like, you know, they were just like, yo, we're going to take Justin Haley in, and you can deal with Corey LaJoy at, Rick Ware Racing, the expert caution bringers to the sport.
I do think though, Drew, like some of these, and I know it's not going to happen because if you have the money, like you can race, but like I feel like some of these drivers need to just be cycled out of the Cup Series, man. It is literally just a
Yeah,
waste of space, man. I'd rather just see like all the best
well,
drivers, man. Like, but I obviously understand that's not going to happen. Like you need to fill the field, basically.
it's not like back in the day too, where we had sponsors on waiting lists to get into the sport. So, like, all you need to do is contact the sponsor, and they'd be like, "Yes, here," and then hand over millions of dollars to whatever level of race team. Just for the advertising purposes alone. I mean, if you were doing phenomenal, that's just better. But I mean, tail end of the tens. Especially right around the recession and the introduction of the car of tomorrow. Which, if you don't know what that looks like, Ben, it's fucking biggest mistake in NASCAR history, objectively. I mean, look at the awkward ass spoiler they gave that car. It sucked. It
I
fucking
think I know what you're
sucked.
talking about without actually know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But like sponsors dipped out in large droves for the next 10 or so years, and then
Wow.
you had race teams where the owners had to put their own businesses on the car just to field it. Like Roush Yates Engines was on the 17 for a bunch of races for a couple of seasons. Just because Fast and all they weren't forking over the money or anything, and the team wasn't doing the best. I mean, they were like, well, we'll do X amount of races with you, but after that, you gotta find whatever. So you get kids who are born with diamonds shoved up their ass, and they
Yep.
have a family that can afford to drop extreme amounts of money in a sport where it takes a large wealth to make a small wealth.
Pretty much. You about just try to break even.
I mean, for the last few seasons, if you could break even, it was lucky. I mean, I think a few years ago, Hendrick Motorsports claimed they hadn't had a single,
Net
like,
profit.
yeah, I think they said that I think they barely broke even.
Mm.
Keywords barely. There was a few seasons where they did. They like lost money doing what they did, but
Well, I'm sure also winning championships too like helps you, you know.
well, and the thing too is like even like the big teams, like
Yeah, Penske and
well, let me see here. So Hendrick Motorsports, for a handful of seasons, had a lot of trouble getting consistent sponsorships with, I think, William Byron for the first few seasons, as well as Alex Bowman. I mean, Chase Elliott and Jimmy Johnson, had their persistent sponsors. I was on every race car for Jimmy Johnson, and Chase Elliott had it's like a fucking laundry list of sponsors. He had like Napa, Sun Energy,
Right.
Mountain Dew. Those were stiff cars, by the way. Kind of sad they're not a part of the sport a whole lot anymore. Little Caesars, Hooters. I mean, like he had a lot of sponsors on
He
him.
said a
So
lot of them, yeah.
yeah, and but I mean, like an A-list team like Hendrick had some weeks where HendrickCars.com was on the cars, and that's kind of why I mean, like, yeah, I'm a Kyle Larson fan, but like this paint scheme, I know it's Rick Hendrick's son, Ricky's paint scheme from when he raced in trucks, but because they were using it on cars to fill in the lack of sponsorship, kind of forever been tarnished in my eyes because it
Mm.
just made because like in my eyes that it just means like nobody wanted to sponsor him. And like when Larson joined the team and it was announced HendrickCars.com was going to get a sponsorship for the majority of the races, I didn't hear, oh, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of support for him. What I heard was, oh shit, nobody wants to sponsor him. And then he went
Yeah.
out and butt fucked the entire field in 2021. And it's slowly turning the paint scheme around in my eyes. But I mean, for a long time, it was just a generic scheme. Like it was up there with like the Ralph Yates engine paint scheme that Chris Buescher
Mm-hmm.
or Ryan Newman when he was in the six as well. But that's kind of why kids with wealthy families were able to move up to the sport though, because they had guaranteed sponsorship,
Well,
and sponsorship means
and that's what I
money,
was
and
gonna
money,
get at. Is that I think, man, slowly sports just become if you got enough money, you're in. And I know that's not fully true. Obviously, you have to show NASCAR that you can drive a car at like 200 miles an
yeah,
hour. But man, it just pisses me off sometimes that some of these guys are just like they're just there to fill the field, and it's like it's so pointless.
yeah. There was I mean, it was a big problem, especially in the early 2020s. Like no, don't get me wrong. There are some nepo babies out there that actually can drive. Like Austin Cendric is technically a nepo baby, but
Is he
like,
really?
yeah, his dad's Tim Cendric. His dad used to
Oh
like
yeah.
oversee the two car in IndyCar.
Mm.
So he had his foot in the door with Penske. I don't know. I guess maybe Austin just wanted to go stock car racing or whatever, or maybe he went that direction. So once then
Well, and I know that
complete conflict of
a
interest
lot of
too.
these kids, they grow up doing
Well, and
like
that's the other thing too
late
now
model
as well.
sprint, like
It's not like back in the day where you had guys like Dale Earnhardt who really didn't start racing until they were like adults. I mean, now you have kids like Brixton Bush is an example where from a very young age he has the drive to race, and he's got his father and uncle, both NASCAR champions that kind of helped guide him through racing and whatnot. I mean, shit, Keelan Harvick's another one too. I mean, he's like 10, but he's already got like sponsors tied to him. Like Hunt Brothers, is on his cars now, and
and Brexton Bush too, same
yeah,
situation. He's got
I think he's
Serve
got,
Pro and
yeah, yeah,
Lucas Oil,
yeah,
I
and
believe.
you know, but like those kids will be like phenomenal race car drivers because they're kind of like, I don't know, like raised around it. So like there's the argument that nepo babies can
Right,
be
it's not
good for,
just the
yeah,
money thing
but
for some of them.
for some drivers, it's pretty clear they got to where they are purely because they can slap a sticker on the car,
Yep,
field it, and fielding that car means X amount of people at the race team have a job, and that feeds their families and all that shit.
exactly.
So like financially, I understand, why they would have kids there purely for the sponsorship reasons. I mean, like you said, they're just kind of taking up space if they're not good. I mean, listen, all right, Cody Ware could probably outdrive me any day of the week. Even if I wasn't in a wheelchair, never had my accident or whatever, he would probably still outdrive me 10-1. I might get like one lucky racing win. But in Cup, I don't know, man. I mean, when's he ever outside the top 30? Or, yeah. I
I
mean,
don't
he's
think I've
usually
ever even
last.
seen him up in 20th. Like,
I out outside of super speedways, yeah. Super Speedways is that one's anybody's. I mean, that one's just a game of survival and luck at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
like, well, I don't know. I mean, Cody Ware did have Allegra, not Allegra. Prilus? No, it wasn't Prilus. He had like some pain
Zyrtec.
medicine. Yeah, no, maybe it was Zyrtec. I don't know. He did
Allergy
have like
medicine.
I don't know, it was some over the counter medicine that was tied to him until he had little kerfuffle with a woman.
Didn't know
Yeah.
anything about this, so I'll look that up later.
Oh yeah. There. Well, that's a conversation for post show. I'll tell you that later.
Okay.
The I mean, I don't know. I mean, shit. Maybe. All right. Look, Daniel Hemrick has always been on my what the fuck's he doing in the field thing. I don't think he's a nepo baby or anything like that.
Well, he's
But
horrible,
like
Drew. I remember seeing him at the Southern 500, like racing, and he was just always at the back, like getting like lapped, like almost. And I'm like, dude, this guy is horrible.
well, I mean, I was on that bandwagon as well, but he won a truck race, like legitimately, this season, which was impressive to me.
Hey, again, they're not
So
like the worst drivers in the world. They can. I mean, that's not easy to race that car, but like,
yeah.
and they can do truck and Xfinity probably better than most. But
Well, and the thing, all right, like Cole Custer, for instance, he's a phenomenal Xfinity driver. But do you see where he's
yeah,
like? Do you see where he's finishing on Sundays now?
yeah,
Like Haas factory team and Cup is not a good team. I'll say it as or how I see it, but they're not a good team anymore. They don't have the like tier one support from Ford anymore. They don't have the same resources anymore. I mean, I think half the success of that Stewart Haas racing was Tony Stewart alone.
yeah.
Sponsorship withdrawal or withdrawing from the team as well kind of also played a factor in its downfall. You know, Cole Custer, no, maybe if he was in like I don't know an RFK or Front Row Motorsports, a Penske car, he might do better. But I know if he raced Xfinity, he would probably be a guarantee for the championship for every season. Like he's really good in Xfinity. So I don't know. I've kind of come to like I don't know when kids with rich backing families make it into the sport. It bothers me when they go to Cup. When they race like truck or Xfinity, it doesn't really bother me a whole lot because like I don't
Because
know.
they're supposed to.
Yeah, but like on Cup, it's like you deserve to be there, not you pay to be there. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
that's how it should be, right? It's like you earned a
yeah,
spot here in the cup, but
and like shit. I mean, like back in the day too. I mean, like all right. Dale Earnhardt's 1979 season, he did pretty good, and he also fucking sat a few weeks out because he broke both collarbones in a crash, and he still ended up getting, I think, his first win at Bristol or Martinsville. I don't know. I believe it was a short track though. He didn't have a single sponsor on that car. Australian Motorsports had nothing on that car, and he still
wow.
did phenomenal. I mean, Wrangler jeans signed on for the 1980 season and ended up going to the championship. Like he deserved to be in Cup. He showed himself, that he was worthy of being there. And I understand you have to race a season to show that you deserve to be there, and not just like one off for the fan base to be like you deserve to be here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess the sport's also a hell of a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Drew, we should probably get to our favorite paint schemes, man.
Yeah.
Let's pull it
I
up,
mean,
dude.
excuse me while I whip this out.
I found it to be there was few and far between to pick from, but I knew one immediately when you asked me. It's just stuck out in my mind, man.
The heartbreaker. It's
The
the heartbreaker.
Heartbreaker. Brad Keselowski. Get to that number
Yeah.
6 car. Did they actually take a good picture of it?
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
yes, they did. Look at that. And I love the chrome. Like, I know it's like offsetting from
Oh,
like
dude, no, I'm with you on that. The chrome number on the RFK cars seals the deal for me.
I wish more cars would do it, to be honest. But dude, this car looks sick, dude. Like, I didn't really see it at first, but then when you saw it on the track, I'm like, this thing is so sick. And like this
Yeah.
angle of it looks amazing, and the way the lighting is on it. Yeah, I love it. Very
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
What'd
Well,
you
I
have, Drew?
mean, this shade of purple is like my favorite shade of purple too. So it was awesome seeing it like chasing down Larson. Not so awesome seeing it slide up into the wall and end his day.
All
All
right,
right.
what did
Well,
you
for
pick?
me, all right. Well, hang on. I can't not talk about the 17 because that is a great car, and this was my original pick because I don't know, the blue and the white combo, nice. It's nice also not seeing Fastenal on the car when it's blue and white, because it
Yeah,
gives you
I'll
a
be
nice little
honest. I
change of
like
pace.
that better than the Fastenal blue
I don't know.
with the
I
blue.
like the Fastenal colors. I don't know. I mean, cleanest one ruled. But the '67 Robin Hood car that Corey Heim drove, honestly, I didn't even know this is what the car
Yeah,
looked like until I watched it Sunday. It's pretty sick. I just love the fluorescent yellow greenish
it's
color
very
on it.
simple, but it like
Hey,
is
sometimes
that like
simple
a
is all you need.
green? I don't know. It looks very cool. It's almost neon, but it's not.
Yeah, it almost looks like it'd be like blazed green or yellow. Either way, I don't know. That shade of color with the black though is sick, and sometimes simplicity is all you need. I mean, they followed the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
and the numbers on there I think just match everything perfectly.
oh yeah. Well,
Like,
the,
cause
the
they
other
could have went
thing,
with a different type of numbering, like font or whatever,
well,
and I
I
think that's
mean,
perfect.
don't get me wrong. I do think, like, spaces right here are a little bare, but it's also a one-off start, and at least they kind of have like a design there too to kind of fill it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
stop sharing that. But
So
yeah.
Drew, All-Star race coming up.
Now, are we going to count the All-Star race because that's not a points paying race?
If you
Probably
want
should have
to,
talked about this. Fuck it, why not? We'll do it.
I was thinking, why not, dude? Just keep going, man. Who cares? But we got the All-Star race, Drew, and last week, let's pull out the sheet. I'm keeping track, ladies and gentlemen,
So
of
glad you
this
are.
for the standings. I keep the sheet. I literally just keep it in here, and I don't touch it until the next week when we're on the podcast. And right before the podcast, I add up the points. So, anyways, Drew, last week at Kansas, you picked Chris Buescher. He finished 8th. I picked Chase Elliott, who finished like 15th. All right.
Yeah.
Now, last week before Kansas, you were only ahead of me by 3. You are now ahead by 11, 240 to 229. And unfortunately, since you picked the better driver from last week, you now get the pick for the All-Star race. First, who are we
Well,
going with?
so this is where it gets a little tricky because, well, we talked about it earlier in the show, or maybe it was pre-race, but I mean, whoever takes the lead at the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro usually stays in the lead and wins. And there's no real easy way to tell who's going to do really good there because this is the third race at the track. Yeah. So, I kind of really want to pick Kyle Larson because I feel like he's on a
Mm.
good roll as of late.
Hey, it's
Yeah,
all
I'm
up to
gonna
you.
pick. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna go Young Money Kyle Larson.
Okay.
Watch him crash out lap one.
Honestly, I will laugh my ass off, dude, if that happens.
I would
Seriously,
too.
I will,
I mean, that's
dude,
just my
I
luck.
will lose it, man.
Yeah, because then you probably are gonna surpass me in the points.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like finally.
So, Drew, I was looking back at it, and you know how I like patterns. So I noticed this. They've only had the All-Star race really since 2023.
At Northwood.
And I'm on FRCS Pro, and they're showing, they have the Heat Race 1 from 2023, Heat Race 2, and they have the All-Star Open. They have all of that listed here. And what I've noticed is it goes like this. So starting with the Heat Race number 1 in 2023, a Chevy won. Then Heat Race 2, Ford. Then you had All-Star Open, Chevy, All-Star Race, Chevy. Then you have one off with the Toyota. And then last year we had Joey Logano winning it in a Ford. So I am thinking that this next race is going to be won by a Chevy. And, I have so much to choose from, but I personally think I'm just kind of looking here. I think it's gonna be Billy Byron, man.
Billy Byron's gonna do her.
Yeah, I think Byron is gonna do it. So we both pick Hendrick, but yeah.
There.
I was gonna say Elliott, but
Yeah.
again, we're doing this before they qualify, and like you said, like usually the pole winner ends up winning it. So we don't know. This is all chance. I mean, for all we know, like freaking Hocevar could get the pole and end up winning.
For all we know, yeah. For all we know. All right. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, man.
On my end. So, you got anything else you want to talk about, or gonna
No,
wrap her
that's
up?
it. We will talk to you guys after the All-Star race. We'll try to see if we can get anything else. If there's any other news that pops up, between now and the All-Star race, make sure you're tuned in on X at NASholes Pod so that you can read what we say about everything.
You can also
And
watch Ben Ward's shameless attempts at Hoist to give us free merch
that's
or
right.
something, or at least some sort of partnership. Not even a financial one. Literally, like
We
for
just want
instance,
free
a
hoist,
t-shirt.
and we'll shout them out too, and maybe we'll get a code. Who knows? To get some percentage off. Yeah, so do that, and make sure you guys follow the TikTok. It's brand new, NASholes.podcast. And give us some love on the logo. You know, I posted, I said, what y'all think, but nobody really responded.
Typical NASHole fans
But
don't
I
respond
want
to
to hear you
anything.
guys' input. I want to leave us the YouTube comments. We love that. Make sure you're subscribed, follow, give us a 5-star review on Spotify, and yeah, we'll talk to you guys after the All-Star race, and we'll see who the All-Star is.
I